What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. This is your boy CJ Talk Sports, aka Mr. Christian Jones, and today I am going to be breaking down my New York Giants schedule as well as my predictions video. Before we start, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what do you think the Giants record is going to be, and let's get right on to the video. First of all, week 1. Kind of touched on this in my last Giants video. The New York Giants will be facing off against the Denver Broncos in week 1 at 4:25 Eastern Standard Time. My feelings going up against the Denver Broncos is that this is a very interesting matchup considering all the moves the Giants have done in this free agency as well as the offseason overall. Obviously, the number one priority was put in legit receiving weapons, put in real talent around the potential franchise quarterback in Daniel Jones. They went out and they signed Kenny Golladay. Obviously, they drafted Kadarius Toney. You still got Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. They signed Kyle Rudolph. The Giants have done almost everything in their power to make sure Daniel Jones is the answer. And in their first matchup, we're about to see just how good this offense could potentially be. Obviously, the Denver Broncos have done a lot to upgrade their secondary. They went out and signed Kyle Fuller. They went out and got Ronald Darby, as well as drafted who I thought was the best corner in the draft in Patrick Surtain. Now, the Broncos also have a huge question mark at quarterback. We don't know who's going to be their starter in week 1. Is it going to be Teddy Bridgewater or is it going to be Drew Lock? I think they're probably going to roll with Drew Lock. Going back into what I said into the draft, I said that what would make sense for Denver is that they signed or went out and got a veteran quarterback. Give Drew Lock about 8 games to see if he can be the guy, and if not, you rip the Band-Aid off and you go with Bridgewater. Now, they could just rip the Band-Aid off right away if they go get Aaron Rodgers, which I doubt, or they could just start Bridgewater right away. Having said all that, I think the Denver Broncos is a great matchup for the New York Giants. You have a coach that's on the hot seat. You have 2 unproven quarterbacks. Their defense is good, but their pass rush isn't what it used to be. Von Miller's getting up there in age. Bradley Chubb hasn't been an instant impact. He's been a good player, but not the counterpart to what they needed outside of Von Miller. So, I'm going to have the New York Giants win this game in a bit of a low-scoring contest, 23-19. Giants start the year 1-0. Week 2 at Washington, Thursday night. As much as all Giants fans, we all wanted the Eagles week 1. That was a no-brainer. But outside of them, I would have loved to have matched up against Washington just because we want to see, in my opinion, these are the 2 best teams in the NFC East. Okay, I'm not worried about the Dallas Cowboys at all. I do not care how much the media hypes them up to be. I know Dak Prescott is coming back, but they were 1-3 with him. And the one team that they did beat, they hired their lame duck head coach to be their new defensive coordinator. Having said all that, I think Washington has had a terrific offseason. Outside of Ryan Fitzpatrick, their offseason was every bit as good as ours. They've upgraded their cornerback position with William Jackson. I love the pickup of Dyami Brown. I think Jamin Davis is going to be a terrific player in their front 7. The one thing you know about Ron Rivera, he coaches up defense to the highest level. And so now that you have your potential star at linebacker and you already have an instant star in Chase Young, that Washington's defense is going to be tremendous. As much as I would love to pick us to win this game, I'm going to keep it realistic. I ultimately think we get a split against Washington. I think we beat them in MetLife, and they beat us here. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have the Giants starting 1-1, but this is going to be a matchup that obviously we're going to see again. But this time, all the marbles are going to be on the line. Week 3 against the Falcons. This is going to be a very fun matchup because obviously we know Atlanta could score as good as almost anyone. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts. They got a ton of good offensive weapons, as well as adding Mike Davis from Carolina. Their offense is no joke, and I do think with Arthur Smith there, that their offense is going to take a big step leap, and Matt Ryan is going to have a terrific year. Having said all that, their defense is just as bad as Dallas, if not worse. Their corners are pathetic. Their linebacking core is hit or miss, and their pass rush is almost non-existent. And that was with a defensive-minded head coach. Now you have a rookie head coach who is excellent on offense, but their defense is so atrocious. The Giants should be able to control the ball, run the clock, control the line of scrimmage. This could very easily be a game where Daniel Jones just absolutely balls out, or it's most likely going to be a well-balanced game. I can see Saquon having the field day, Daniel Jones going berserk. I'm going to have the New York Giants win this game. Bit of a high-scoring game. I really think we're going to score a bunch of points on this Falcons defense. I'm going to say 35-20. 35-20. Again, the Falcons have no one on defense that frightens me. Their linebackers are trash. Their secondary is terrible, and their pass rush is very hit or miss. So, start the year, I have the Giants starting 2-1. Oh, by the way, I forgot to get a score as far as Washington goes. I'm going to give Washington the win 21-17. I think it'll be a very low-scoring game, very tight, very competitive, old-school NFC East battle, but Washington pulling away by that much. Week 4 at New Orleans. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, this team is different. They lost Drew Brees. They lost a lot of key pieces this offseason. But I'm still a believer in Sean Payton. I still think he's an excellent head coach. Jameis Winston is ultimately the X factor, but I think one element that a lot of people aren't paying attention to as far as New Orleans goes, I hate young quarterbacks going to that stadium for the first time. I really do. If there were a couple of stadiums that Daniel Jones had performed it like this and played excellent in, then I wouldn't be as worried to go to New Orleans. You have a brand new offensive line, or at least a retooled offensive line. You have a young quarterback against that coach who still has some good defensive ball players on that club, and it's at New Orleans. That crowd noise is going to matter, especially when you have such a young offensive line and another young quarterback. So I don't think a lot of people are factoring in how much crowd noise plays into effect when you're playing there for the first time. If Daniel Jones has had experience going to a place like New Orleans and playing his butt out, outside of maybe Philadelphia, and they're just rowdy, but I'm talking about playing in a closed indoor arena that is full of rambunctious fans. There is almost nothing like going to New Orleans except Kansas City or Seattle. So I think that really plays into an account. I think New Orleans is being slept on from a talent perspective. I really want to give us this win here, but I gotta give New Orleans the win. They got, as much as I love Joe Judge, better coach, quarterback. It's about even. Defensively, we're better than New Orleans, but again, that crowd noise, that defense, especially when you're playing in New Orleans, it matters. So I'm gonna give New Orleans the win. I still think it'll be close. I just think the Saints are better than us just by a little bit, by a hair. I'm going to say Saints win 23-20. Week 5 at Dallas. Dallas. Y'all got lucky beating us the first time, okay? We had Ryan Lewis as our second corner. This time we got Adoree Jackson. Last time, the refs coughed us 2 touchdowns that got taken away from us. That's not going to happen again. Oh, you can say, well, Dak Prescott is back. What about Dak? You know, yeah, he has a bunch of great receivers, but we got one of the best secondaries in football. We got 3 capable corners that can match up against all of your top receivers. We have a pass rush now. And your offensive line is not what it used to be. I may be slightly overconfident, but it is time we give it. It is time that we give Dallas a lesson. It really is. We should have beaten them twice a year ago. We should have beaten them at least once the year prior. And so, I'm not scared of Dallas at all. I think their coaching staff is mediocre at best. Their secondary is pathetic. Their defense as a whole is atrocious. And the only thing they have over us is quarterback. Okay? You guys are making it seem like Dak Prescott is Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson. He is not. He's borderline top 10. And Daniel Jones has all the potential to be at least top 12, top 13. And so, I may be a tad bit overconfident. I may be cutting Dallas too short because I am fully aware of how good their receiving core is. And their defensive line can be an issue. But I truly believe that if we can deal with New Orleans crowd noise, Dallas is going to be nothing. Dallas crowd noise is going to be a cakewalk. And considering how bad their defense is, and considering how well balanced the New York Giants team is, I don't see any reason why this game doesn't come down to the fourth quarter. And ultimately, I like our coach better, and I like our defense better. I'm going to say this is going to be a bit of a high-scoring game. But I got the New York Giants coming out on top. I'll go with the score 24-31. Giants beat Dallas. And that will take us to 3-2. 3-2 after 5 games. And this right here could potentially be a statement game. Week 6 at the Rams. No, excuse me. Rams coming to us. Week 6 against the Rams. Man, this is a brutal one. This is a brutal one because let's not act like the Rams did not have a top 5 elite defense. They still got Jalen Ramsey, who in my opinion is the best corner in football. They still got Aaron Donald, who I think is the best interior defensive lineman in the game. As much as I love Bradbury and Leonard Williams, they are not Ramsey and Aaron Donald. As much as I love Joe Judge, he is not Sean McVay. So when I do this breakdown, the Rams have the better quarterback, better coach, and shockingly the better defense. So with all that being said, I do think this game is tight. I do think this game is relatively close. But I'm going with the Rams. I just think they're slightly bit more talented than us. And with Matthew Stafford there now, he gives their offense an entirely different element. And so, I'm going to have the Rams squeak this one out by a score of 24-17. Week 7 against the Panthers. Kind of like the same boat. Very close, very competitive. I love Matt Rule. Wanted him to be the Giants head coach last year. But, when I look at this matchup, I say, hey, we got the better coach. Joe Judge is, in my opinion, better than Matt Rule. I love Sam Darnold's potential, but I don't think he's better than Daniel Jones. And I certainly don't think Carolina's defense is on par with us. So I look at this matchup. I think it's tight. I think it's very close. I think Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones has the potential to make some major blunders. But I think the Giants' defense is more capable of covering up those warts where I don't view the same way with Carolina's defense. I think their defense has some promise, but it's not there yet. It's not there yet. And listen, Darnold and Jones, I just said that they're going to potentially have some blunders. I do also think they're going to make some big major throws. But I think Daniel Jones' big plays play more into effect into the Giants winning this ball game. And so I'm going to have the New York Giants win this game relatively very close, relatively low scoring. I'm going to have the New York Giants win this game 23-20, squeaking out a win against the Carolina Panthers, probably by a game-winning field goal. Week 8 at Kansas City. I'm not going to waste any time with this. I am intrigued by this matchup. I do think this game has the potential to be close, to be competitive. But that is about as much analytics that I could give as far as this matchup. The Giants do not have much of a shot to beat Kansas City. I'm sorry. Kansas City retooled their offensive line. It's even better when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago. Andy Reid, he had our number when he was in Philly with less talent than this. And the young GOAT himself, Patrick Mahomes. What more can I say? The Giants, again, this game has the potential to be close. But even the biggest Giants fan is not picking us to beat Kansas City. No chance. Again, I think this game is going to be relatively close, but I think Kansas City is just too much for us. I'm going to say the score 31-24. We might lose by double digits if we can't stop Mahomes, but yeah. Kansas City is just a bad matchup for just about everyone. And then week 9, we get the Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders. I would have loved to get in this matchup a little bit later, especially if we're going to Vegas. But hey, Raiders are coming here. It's still relatively late in the year. As I said before, the Raiders, they're like the ultimate tease. Okay? They start the year like 5-3, 62. They remind me a lot of what Tom Coughlin's teams were before we won our second Super Bowl. You know, the years where we were winning Super Bowls. How we always start the year up high. We'll start the year 5-3, 6-2, but then we lose like 6 out of our last 8 games. The Raiders have classic 8-8 written all over them, and so I think the New York Giants just have an overall better roster. I think Joe Judge is more equipped to handle season adversities late in the year. So Raiders to me doesn't pose much of a threat. Their defense is laughable. Their offensive line is very questionable. I do think our defensive line will be able to push them around and get after Derek Carr. Their receiving weapons aren't frightening to me. I do love Josh Jacobs, but I still believe the strength of our defense is our defensive line. The interior of our defensive line being able to stop the run. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, as well as B.J. Hill. We're gonna be able to stop the run with just our front seven, and we're gonna force Derek Carr to beat us. With our balanced offense attack, Daniel Jones, he should be able to play a clean, wholesome football game, and I expect a big day out of Saquon Barkley. And as a matter of fact, much like I think Daniel Jones' breakout game will be against Atlanta, I think by this time Saquon Barkley will be back to form, and this will be the game that cements Saquon Barkley as Comeback Player of the Year. I truly believe that. I have the Raiders keeping this close. Again, they could score a lot of points, but our defense is perfectly capable of matching up against them. I'm going to have the New York Giants win this game. I think they pull away late, 31-17. They could be close through the majority of the game, but the Raiders, I just don't think they have the overall talent to put us away. And then we go on our bye week. So again, to recap, I have the New York Giants starting the year. That's one. That's two. That's three. I have the New York Giants. That's four. I have the New York Giants starting the year 5-4. Right? So after the bye week, so going into the bye week, I have the New York Giants starting the year 5-4. I think we'll be very competitive throughout all these games. I think this team will just now be looking to hit their stride and make a playoff berth. But this is going to be the year that makes or breaks Daniel Jones and Dave Gettleman's tie. I think if Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley do not hit a home run, then this will be Gettleman's last year. And if they do, Giants have their two cornerstone pieces for hopefully many years to come. A head coach, a promising head coach for the future, and a boatload of draft picks to build around them. Having said all that, let's go into our schedule after the bye week. Week 11, another Super Bowl contender we have to travel to. Tampa Bay. Now, we have played Tom Brady close many times in the past. Even when Daniel Jones first played against Tom Brady, the game was close in the fourth quarter, but then the game just got away from us. Last year, Daniel Jones had his worst game against Tampa Bay. If he plays average, we win. And then obviously, Daniel Jones' first start was at Tampa Bay, a game that I did not expect the Giants to win, and he pulled out a miracle. So which Daniel Jones are we going to get in this game? Are we going to get Mr. Home Run in his first game? Or do we get a borderline disaster from last year? I think Daniel Jones will play relatively well in this game. I don't think the Giants match up entirely well against Tampa Bay because of their pass rush. And even by this point, I don't think the offensive line will be hitting it on all cylinders. I do think we'll be able to keep the game close because of Saquon Barkley and how good we are on the defensive side of the ball. But again, I just think Tampa Bay, much like Kansas City, just poses too much for us. I think Todd Bowles against young quarterbacks is a borderline nightmare. I think Brady, as good as our defense is, he will figure it out when push comes to shove. And at the end of the day, do I think Daniel Jones could pull out another miracle run like he did in his first game against Tampa Bay? Honestly, I don't know. I would love to see it. But I just think Tampa Bay has a little bit too much on both sides of the ball. Again, Tom Brady is not going to give this game away for us. He's ultimately going to figure it out. And I think this game will be close, but I can't see the Giants pulling off this upset. I'm gonna give Tampa Bay the win. I'll say a score 31-27. 31-27. Like I said, I think this game would be relatively close. I think Daniel Jones will play pretty well, but I think ultimately Tom Brady figures it out and Tampa Bay gets a big stop in the end. Now we're sitting at 5-5. Played pretty well for most of the year. And now it's the big one. The game we've been all waiting for. The Philadelphia Eagles. This lousy, pathetic excuse of a fan base actually thinks that they have our number. And you know what they've had? They've had our number in recent past. But times are changing. And that time is now. The Philadelphia Eagles, I don't have much to say about your football club. You guys are terrible. You're awful. You're really pathetic. You really think Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith is going to solve all your issues? Jalen Hurts, for as much promise he has, is Taysom Hill. He's Taysom Hill with a slightly better arm. He's a career 52. In his 4 games as a starter, he completed 52% of his throws. He was barely better than that in college. Okay? And I love Devontae Smith. I wanted him so badly to be a Giant. But he was going to come in and be our number 2. You're going to ask a 6 foot, maybe not even 6 foot, probably close to 5'11". You're going to ask a 5'11" receiver at 160 pounds soaking wet to be your number 1 receiver against our defense. Jabril Peppers is going to break him in half. He's going to break him like a twig. And our secondary as a whole is just so much better than y'all's. It's so much better than your pathetic receiving core. Jalen Hurts may have more turnovers than touchdowns in this game. I want y'all to be ready for that. Daniel Jones, y'all can make fun of Daniel Jones all y'all want. Your secondary is trash. And we were lighting you guys up with Sterling Shepard as our number 1, Golden Tate, Evan Ingram. Daniel Jones basically played essentially 2 perfect games against y'all, and we got screwed out of that game because Evan Ingram dropped the pass. You put Kenny Galladay in that role, we're going to absolutely smoke y'all. We're going to embarrass y'all. We are going to mop the floor with you guys, with you punks. And you know, Joe Judge, he's from New England. Joe Judge, he comes from the Belichick tree. He comes from Nick Saban. You don't think he's going to be afraid to run the scoreboard against y'all clowns? Y'all can make fun of Daniel Jones all y'all want. Y'all can make fun. Y'all can say y'all have more recent history. Y'all have more recent success than us. But at the end of the day, we are going to destroy y'all. We are going to mop the floor with you pathetic Eagles. Jalen Hurts will score a combined 1 touchdown. And it might be a fluke for all I care. The New York Giants are going to embarrass the Eagles. Embarrass them. I could go with a score of something like 31-3, but I'm not. I'm going to be realistic. The New York Giants are going to crush the Philadelphia Eagles by a score of 30-10. 30-10, and that 1 touchdown they gotta get, maybe a garbage touchdown. A garbage score. Have fun being the bottom of the barrel. Y'all not just going to be in the basement. You guys are going to be in the bottom of the basement for the next 5 years minimum. This is the same fan base that worships Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson, yet ran Andy Reid out of town. I got nothing less to say. Nothing left to say. New York Giants crushed the Eagles 30-10. Might not even be that close. And yeah, we're gonna go 6-5. Suck it, Eagles fans. Week 13 at Miami. Wow, this is a tough game. Wow, this is a really tough game. I will say this. I don't think the Giants are going to lose back-to-back games on the road against Miami and the Chargers. I do think we can win at least one of those games. Now, which game do I think is most likely? Against Miami, man. Talk about the parallels. Most people say, including myself, the 2020 Giants were the 2019 Dolphins. And the way we spent money last year, same thing that you guys did a year ago. I really liked Miami coming into last year. And then Tua was kind of hit or miss. I do think in terms of head coaches, it's close. But I'm going to give the slight advantage to Brian Flores. I just think the work that he's done since he's been in Miami has been nothing short of amazing, much like Joe Judge. I think both ball clubs have tremendous on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the back end. But I'm going with the Giants, and here's why. I think the New York Giants have done a better job at putting key pieces around Daniel, even better than what Miami has done helping out Tua. I truly believe that. And plus, I feel as though the New York Giants are, the New York Giants are more suited to take that next big step because of the division they're in. As much as I like Tua, I don't think he's as good as Josh Allen. And I don't think his upside is as good as Daniel Jones. Now, Tua may have the better floor, that I will agree with. But I think Daniel has way more upside just being a better athlete. So, I'm going to give the New York Giants the slightest advantage. I do think it's going to be a great ball game. I could be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong. But I'm going to give the advantage to the New York Giants. I think we have the better pass rush by a hair. I think we have the better secondary by a hair. I do like Daniel Jones a tad bit more than Tua. And you know how much I love Joe Judge, even though I think Brian Flores is just slightly better than him. So, and adding to the fact that Patrick Graham knows Brian Flores like the back of his hand, I'm sure he's going to get some tidbits on how our offense could game plan against him. And again, Patrick Graham against a young quarterback, I do not like that at all. At all. So, I'm going to give the New York Giants the slight win. I'll say 17-14 Giants. And I think the big mistake will ultimately be from Tua. Whether it be a missed throw or an interception. I just think the New York Giants are more equipped of taking advantage of Tua's weaknesses than Miami is of taking advantage of Daniel Jones' weaknesses. And so, week 14 at the Chargers. Man, again, another close one. I'm going to give the Giants the split here. I'm going to say the Giants split these two road games. I think we beat Miami, but then we fall short to the Chargers. Justin Herbert is the real deal. And he could very well have a sophomore slump, but I just look at their talent overall. Their offensive line is legit. Their defense is for real. Excuse me. We'll see about Brandon Staley. We'll see about their new coach. But again, I just feel like as though Justin Herbert, that this kid has the potential to be a superstar. And when Derwin James is healthy, their defense is elite as well. And so, I look at this matchup as being potentially a high scoring, but I think Justin Herbert just slightly takes the cakes a little bit over Daniel. I'm going to give a score 24-20. Chargers win. Because ultimately the Giants, listen, they can get a big win against Miami and have to get a very emotional win against Philadelphia, and they could just possibly just come out flat. It is what it is. So, after that, I have the New York Giants at, let me see. And now we get a second matchup against Dallas. I was going to give us a split coming into the year, matching up against Dallas. But then, I don't know if it was just ESPN pissing me off, or hearing all these pundits talk about how the Cowboys are head and shoulders ahead of the division because simply of their quarterback. And I was like, you know what? Let's really break these teams down. Let's really see how close we are to Dallas. Because at the end of the day, Dallas has won the division a couple of times the last number of years. But for the most part, during that time, the Giants were in a rebuild. We had that one great year where we went 11-5 and made the playoffs. But hey, like I said, the Giants have been a more abundant franchise over the last number of years. So, of course, Dallas is going to have an advantage of us in that way. But then I was like, you know what, let's really break these two teams down. Let's really delve into the Cowboys and the Giants. Obviously, we know Dak Prescott is better than Daniel Jones. We know that. But having the best quarterback in the division doesn't automatically mean you should win. It's about having the best roster and the best coaching staff, ultimately. And the Cowboys' coaching staff is not good at all. I don't care if Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn both have Super Bowls. I don't care. No, I said it yesterday during Logan's stream. Any mediocre head coach can win a Super Bowl if you have a superstar coordinator. The one time Dan Quinn was an exceptional coach was when he had Kyle Shanahan as his offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy, same way. Michael McCarthy, he's an offensive-minded head coach. Well, the last number of years in his time in Green Bay, the offense was in the middle of the pack with Aaron Rodgers. So now all of a sudden, he's going to go to Dallas as a made man. He had Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre as his quarterbacks. He should have great success in that division. Now, what about Daniel Jones? He played great in the 2 games he had against Dallas last year with no weapons. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done. Even though, yes, obviously I respect Dallas, I'm tired of giving the Cowboys the benefit of the doubt. They had this great quarterback. They had great receiving weapons. We had a top-10 defense. We slowed down their offense for the most part. And that was with Ryan Lewis as our second corner. We now have a top 3 corner really in James Bradbury. Another top 10 corner in Adoree Jackson. We have the best pair of safeties in the league in Jabril and Logan Ryan. Why can't we beat Dallas? Their defense is not good. Their coaching staff is not good. Why should I be afraid of Dallas? Why should I give them the benefit of the doubt? Because they have Dak. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's just me being too optimistic, but I really think we match up well against Dallas, even if Dak is completely healthy. So I'm gonna have the New York Giants finally getting over the hump and beating both Dallas and Philadelphia in this season. Both of them. We finally got over the hump against them last year. Should have beat them twice with a mediocre roster. This year, we have a super talented roster. And I truly believe Daniel Jones is going to take that next big step. I truly believe that. Last year, a lot of people kept saying, when is Josh Allen going to get over the hump? Well, he did. And he did it by being the second year of an offense, elite receiving weapons, and just overall consistency. Josh Allen and Daniel Jones have all the talent in the world to be franchise quarterbacks. It's just all about getting it done up here. Josh Allen figured it out. I don't see any reason why Daniel Jones can't either. So I have the New York Giants sweeping Dallas and Philly. I'm going to give a prediction. I'm going to say the Giants win this game, very similar to the first matchup. I'll say Giants win this game 27-20. 27-20. Let me remind you guys something. Last year, there were actual people claiming that with Tua and Cam being in the division, being in the AFC East, that both of them were going to be better than Josh Allen. And look how that turned out. Enough said. like I said, Week 16 against the Eagles, we're gonna embarrass them. We're gonna beat the holy lemon crap out of them. It's going to be so much sweeter to do it in Philadelphia as well. And you bet you're behind that I'm going to try to be there. All these pathetic Eagles fans making fun of Daniel Jones. Oh, you guys are going to be a more above franchise as long as Daniel Jones is your quarterback. Okay, I'm not going to argue. I'm just gonna let the season play out, and we'll see who's going to be talking. We'll see who will be laughing last. We'll see who's going to be talking all that smack. Like I said, we're going to embarrass the Eagles. We're going to completely annihilate them. Home, away, Mexico, Ubeca, I don't care where the game is. We're going to completely annihilate the Eagles. I'll give a more respected score just because it's at Philly. I'll give the Eagles 14 points. But we're still going to kick your behinds. We're still going to embarrass y'all. I'll say Giants win this game 34-14. 34-14. But this time the game may actually be close for the most part. But then we're going to just run away with y'all. That's what's going to happen. And with that, the New York Giants are... Now we get into one of our biggest games of the year, not just the playoff implications, draft status. I said right away. Pause. I said right away when the New York Giants made that trade for the Chicago Bears that I think this trade worked absolutely remarkable. Because I think even without Aaron Rodgers, the Chicago Bears, this division has the makings to be a lot like what the NFC East was last year. With no Aaron Rodgers, Chicago, they can win 9 games. You know, yeah, they won 8 a year ago, but you're really you're counting on Mitch. You're counting on either Andy Dalton or a rookie quarterback. Against that schedule. You're facing it off against the NFC West and the AFC North. Whether it's Dalton or Justin Fields, outside of your division, Chicago Bears, I just don't think they're going to be all that good. I could be wrong. Justin Fields could be tremendous. Their defense is still elite. But I'm just not sold on the way they put this team together. I think Justin Fields has the potential to be very good. But I'm just not a huge fan of his supporting cast. I like Matt Nagy. But I don't know. Chicago just has a lot of holes. And their schedule is no cakewalk. No cakewalk at all. And we're still unsure on the status of Aaron Rodgers. You know, last year, the Bears had started off okay. Then they picked it up a little bit. And then they kind of, not fell apart, but they didn't end the year properly, finish going 8-8. Now you're facing off against... Again, the NFC West and the AFC North. Those are the 2 toughest divisions in all of football. Easily. And you're going to ask either a rookie quarterback or Andy Dalton to maneuver through that schedule. Not fun. So, I'm going to have the New York Giants win this game. I think this is a big game for the Giants in terms of playoff implications, as well as potentially improving their draft stock. I think the Bears have the makings of being a 7-9, 8-8 team. And so, that pick is going to be looking very valuable for the New York Giants. And so, I'm going to have the New York Giants win this game. Relatively close, 24-17. Again, but we'll see. At this point, I assume Justin Fields will be starting. We'll see how he is by the time we get to the end. towards the end of the year. And last game against Washington, winner take all, probably. In my opinion, these are the two best teams in all football. I mean, in the division. Excuse me. These are the two best teams in the NFC East, in my opinion. Like I said, I think Dallas is slightly overrated. I think they're going to handle the Eagles. Eagles are probably going to win at best 3 or 4 games. Dallas, I think, finished the year somewhere between 9-8, maybe 10-7. And I think the two 10-win teams are going to be up top with the Giants and Washington. And this will be the game to decide it all, most likely. And I got the New York Giants coming out of the NFC East. Finished the year 5-1 in the division. I think we sweep Dallas and Philadelphia. I think we get a split against Washington. I'm going to have the New York Giants win this game. It's going to be a hard-nosed, bloody NFC East battle. But I think the Giants come up top. I think the Giants win this game 24-23. And Daniel Jones, he has his breakout moment. He has his ultimate breakout moment. He leads the Giants to the playoffs. Has a breakout year. And this will be his signature win against Washington. Against a team that he routinely almost always beats. It does always beat. So that's going to be the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen. I have the New York Giants going 11-6, making the playoffs, win the NFC East. I think we could win one playoff game, but then probably lose to either a Tampa Bay, a Rams, or maybe Seattle. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, comment down below. Please be sure to like, hit the thumbs up. Your boy really appreciates it. This is your man, CJ Talk Sports, a.k.a. Mr. Christian Jones. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.